The text message from Buckingham Palace landed in newsrooms at precisely 7 p.m. It was short, brutal, and devoid of the usual floral courtesies. It announced that the disgraced former Prince Andrew had been arrested by Thames Valley Police. Within seconds, the global media machine roared to life. But inside the gilded cages of Windsor, a different kind of panic was setting in. King Charles III, still navigating the treacherous waters of his own cancer treatment and a tumultuous start to his reign, was reportedly facing a crisis of loyalty. And yet, it was not the king's voice that cut through the noise of the falling Epstein files. It was the sharp, no-nonsense bark of his younger sister. In the eye of the hurricane, Princess Anne, the hardest-working royal in history, did not run. She reportedly picked up the phone. This is the story of how the king in panic found his unlikely anchor, and how the Princess Royal finally broke her silence. To understand the tension currently fracturing the House of Windsor, you must understand the woman at its center. Princess Anne is 75 years old. She is an Olympian, an admiral, and the daughter of the longest-reigning monarch in British history. While others chase headlines, Anne recycles her 40-year-old coats and refuses to stop driving her own car. For decades, the public viewed her as merely stoic, the royal who fell off a kidnapper's horse and told the gunman to not be ridiculous. But according to royal biographers and insiders speaking to The Express and the News International, the Princess Royal has recently transformed from a background figure into the monarchy's trump card. As one expert put it, she is absolutely pivotal in keeping public support for the monarchy. However, as the Epstein scandal deepened, culminating in Andrew's arrest in February 2026 on suspicion of misconduct over his ties to the sex offender, and was forced into a role she never wanted, the sole mediator between a panicked king, a ruthless heir, and a brother who has become a national pariah. The first hint that Anne was moving the chess pieces herself came not from the palace, but from the Highlands of Scotland. In early May, the Princess Royal was scheduled to visit Baccafrost's Applecross salmon farm. It was meant to be a standard visit about agriculture. Instead, activists erupted. They demanded she cancel, accusing the farm of being a cruel, dirty business where over 10 million salmon had died. One activist shouted that the king had already dropped royal warrants for similar farms, and demanded Anne not be used to royal wash the industry. Most working royals would have cancelled to avoid the optics. Princess Anne did not. By refusing to cancel, she sent a silent, unmistakable signal to her brother the king: "We do not run from bad press, we endure it." This was the old queen's philosophy. This is Anne's philosophy. And it directly contradicted the slick, modern public relations machine being built by the Prince and Princess of Wales. The hints grew louder inside the palace walls. Sources told the News International that while the world saw Anne as a hardliner, she was actually holding a remarkably sympathetic and tolerant line toward Andrew. She reportedly called him at Royal Lodge on Christmas Day when no one else would. But sympathy is not blindness. The hints became reality when the Epstein files dropped, revealing photographs and damaging claims. And, the source noted, was shaken. She knew the game had changed. The tension is currently splitting the firm into two distinct warring factions. On one side, you have the future, Prince William. The heir to the throne is described by insiders as modern, ruthless, and controlling. When Andrew demanded a private meeting with the king without revealing his agenda, William reportedly drew a hard line. The mantra from the Wales camp is zero transparency equals zero access. On the other side stands the old guard, Princess Anne and Prince Edward. They reportedly defied William's veto. While Anne is fiercely loyal to the monarchy and has been angry with Andrew for his actions, she is equally loyal to the flesh and blood of her family. An insider revealed that Anne feels this whole thing has gone way beyond what's fair. She believes their late mother would have wanted this handled with far more discretion and dignity. This has led to fiery arguments, particularly with Queen Camilla. Sources claim Camilla is incredulous that Anne is defending the indefensible, while Anne reportedly resents Camilla steamrolling in to try and take control. The king, already physically weakened by treatment, is caught between a son who wants to purge the past and a sister who wants to preserve the family unit. For a woman famous for her emotional restraint, the emotional break of Princess Anne is found in her silence and in the raw content of a single, overlooked statement. While the world speculated about Harry and Meghan, Andrew's arrest, and William's ambitions, Anne quietly stepped up to a podium at the 145th IOC session in Milan. She delivered a dry report on election commissions. But earlier that week, via the Buckingham Palace press office, she had issued a rare personal message regarding the carers' trust. "The last year has, once again, been challenging for carers," she wrote. "Many people around the country are struggling, feeling isolated and exhausted. On the surface, it is charity work. But read between the lines. Here is a 75-year-old woman watching her brother, the king, struggle with cancer, her younger brother, Andrew, threatened with jail, and her nephew, William, tearing up the rulebook. She is the backbone she speaks of, giving service out of love despite the high price to her own emotional well-being. The break is visible in her refusal to yield. When Andrew was arrested on his 66th birthday, Anne's helicopter was grounded by fog. Most would have stayed home. Instead, she caught a train, walked into HMP Leeds, and carried out her duties as patron of the Butler Trust. That is not stoicism, that is grief weaponized as duty. Here is the truth that the palace press releases are trying to hide. Princess Anne does not believe King Charles handled this correctly. Initially, when Charles stripped Andrew of his titles, and reportedly found it difficult to fathom that the son of a monarch could be erased so easily. She questioned Andrew herself, angrily, about Epstein. She is no fool. But she argued that the punishment did not fit the crime of past association versus the actual leaked documents crisis. Royal expert Richard Kay noted that she came to share the family view that unless Andrew was distanced, the risk was considerable, but only reluctantly. The deeper truth is that Anne is the only person in the family who can tell Charles no and not be ignored. She is the trump card because she has no ambition for the throne. She doesn't want to be queen, she wants the institution to survive. And right now, she believes William's rush to modernity, opening up about emotions, ditching traditions, is dangerous. She is irked by the changes. She is old school. The truth is that Anne is playing the long game. She is supporting Andrew's request for a meeting not because she likes Epstein's friend, but because she believes that to abandon a royal duke without a hearing sets a precedent that will one day consume them all. Where does this leave the king in panic? For now, King Charles is listening to Anne. He has not yet granted Andrew the meeting, but he has softened his tone publicly. The relentless PR war from Kensington Palace has been ordered to stand down, temporarily. But the impact of Anne's intervention is seismic. By refusing to cancel the salmon farm visit, by taking the train to the prison, and by arguing behind closed doors for Andrew's dignity, Princess Anne has done something remarkable. She has drawn a line in the sand. She is telling the world that the House of Windsor is not a corporation to be restructured by William and Kate. It is a family. And in a family, you do not simply delete your brother because the news cycle turns against him. Princess Anne, one expert concluded, remains the monarchy's secret weapon. As Andrew faces the possibility of charges and William fumes in the wings, the reign of King Charles III may ultimately be defined not by his crown, but by the quiet, terrifying loyalty of his sister. The king was panicking. But the Princess Royal was already at work. And that, more than any scandal, is the most hopeful sign for the future of the crown.